I'm a 27-year-old woman named Mara, and I've waited 5 long years to tell this story the way it actually happened. Juliet and I grew up like sisters, or at least that's what everyone liked to say. We were 6 months apart, lived 10 minutes from each other, and spent every major holiday, birthday, and weekend under the same roof. Our mothers are sisters, and they practically raised us like twins. But anyone who paid attention could see it. Juliet always had to be louder, flashier, and somehow more important than everyone around her. I was the quiet one. I studied hard, stayed out of trouble, worked retail jobs during high school to save up for college. Juliet floated through everything, skipping classes, dating older guys, picking fights with teachers. But she had this way of turning everything into a performance. She could cry on cue, twist a story mid-conversation, and somehow get away with it. People either believed her or didn't want to deal with the mess she'd make if they didn't. After high school, I moved to the city for college on a partial scholarship. I chose environmental sciences. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. I juggled classes, waitressing, lab hours, and tutoring. Meanwhile, Juliet took a year off to figure things out, then enrolled at the local state college. She stayed home, still went to the same bars from high school, still expected attention every time she walked into a room. By the time I was in my final semester, I had mapped out my entire graduation plan. I booked a banquet room at a small Italian restaurant I used to work at. Nothing fancy, just 25 people, good food, a short thank you speech. I paid deposits early. My parents offered to cover decorations and drinks. I spent hours making invitations, hand-addressed every envelope, even arranged a carpool for our older relatives. 2 days before the ceremony, Juliet showed up at my apartment with a gift bag and the fakest smile I'd ever seen. She hugged me like we were best friends, said she was proud, and handed me the bag. Inside was a lavender-scented candle, a graduation card with my name spelled wrong, and a keychain that said the future is female. I knew something was off. She never did anything without a reason. The next morning, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Group chats were exploding. Someone had posted a video of me giving a class presentation, but the audio had been spliced to make it sound like I was mocking a professor who uses a wheelchair. It was clearly fake. The original video had been recorded for a disability studies course, and I remembered every second of it, but in the edited version, I looked smug and cruel, and it spread fast. Family members started texting me, saying they weren't sure if it was a good time to celebrate or that maybe I should lay low until things died down. One of my uncles flat out unRSVP'd. Even my own godmother, who I thought had my back, said she didn't want to get caught in the middle of drama. That's when I started digging. The Instagram account that posted the clip had no followers and no posts besides that one video. But when I used a password reset link, the recovery email flashed on the screen for half a second, Juliet's old Gmail, the one she used in middle school. I remembered because we once shared a Netflix account and it was her backup login. I didn't call her, I drove straight to her place. She opened the door wearing pajama pants and holding a smoothie, acting confused like she hadn't just ruined my life. When I told her what I found, her eyes widened like she'd rehearsed it. She said her account was probably hacked, that she hadn't used it in years. Then she started crying and saying she'd never do something like that to me. Her mother, my aunt, showed up in the doorway a few minutes later. She asked me to leave, said we should talk when things had calmed down. I told her about the email connection. She shook her head and said maybe I misunderstood, and that it wasn't worth breaking up the family over some teenage mistake. My parents tried to stay out of it. My dad offered to still come to the graduation dinner if I wanted to go through with it. But it wasn't the same anymore. Everyone else had dropped out, and the entire event felt poisoned. So I canceled everything.